All right. Looks like we're live. What's up, everybody, and welcome to Guy Aitchison's Reinventing the Tattoo Community, a place for tattooers, apprentices, collectors, and the curious to join and unite under all things art and tattoos. Today we are streaming live for Ricardo Sturdivant's Reinventing Drawing Group, where we'll be focusing on different aspects of art and the meaning behind it. And this is episode 20 something, so I'm really excited that you guys have been here with us for all of these weeks. Before we get started, we definitely want to shout out and say thank you to our sponsors for making this community free to you to watch and enjoy. We've got World Tattoo Events. You can find them at worldtattooevents.com. They're the largest, most comprehensive resource for tattoo events in the world, so definitely check them out as events are scheduling and rescheduling like crazy right now. Also, thank you to DLize Pro and Raw Pigments. You can find Raw Pigments at rawpigments.co. They are a line of color inks, washes, opaques, all sorts of stuff. You can find them with really great reviews from artists around the world. Also, thank you to Gabe at Tattoo Now, providing technology for tattooers for decades. Also, Guy Aitchison, where you can find his biomech encyclopedia, all sorts of stuff at guyaitchison.com. If you guys are watching and are interested in educational content, of course, the decades-old Reinventing the Tattoo canon is brand new online, available to you at courses.reinventingthetattoo.com, and a whole awesome curriculum that also has Monday night events at 9 p.m. Eastern every Monday. Guy Aitchison leads a group exercise with different focuses every single week or month with themes. Really great to be a part of. Ricardo can attest to how it feels to grow with a group. It's awesome. But yeah, again, thank you guys for tuning in. Just let us know that these streams are working. Either tag a friend, who'd love to watch and join us, who loves tattoos, or comment where you're beaming in from. And I'm gonna go ahead and hand it over to Ricardo and say Happy Tuesday.
Hey,
How's it
what's up,
going?
Lauren? Pretty good. Happy Tuesday.
Yeah,
Here we
definitely.
are. Here we are again. Like you said, I can't believe it. We've done this many episodes, man. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I said
Um,
20 something. I'm actually not sure the number. I'll check right now.
yeah, for sure.
23.
23. All right. Lucky number 23, right?
Yep.
What do
So
you
we
know,
focused
man?
on all sorts of things throughout the 23 episodes. It's a lot of great conversation, a lot of deep thinking, simple shapes, of course. So yeah, what's on the agenda for today, Ricardo?
Yeah, I've been going back and forth about what to talk about today. And as always, recently I was asked like if I could title this show, what would I title it? And I think Tuesday Feelings is pretty good for me. Tuesday Feels, something like that. You know what I mean? I think that'd be pretty fun. Because like I talk about that a lot. I talk about how our life influences our art and the things that we go through, how it defines who we are. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of us, like with our artwork, it's a perspective as far as our understanding of it, as far as the way that we view it, as far as the way that we approach it. And I talk a lot about that. And I feel like a broken record sometimes, but I think it's really important sometimes to kind of like touch on what we might have discussed earlier recently, and even throughout the 23 episodes, just keep going forward with it. But it's important, and I think there's a lot of things as artists that we might comprehend a little bit differently than a lot of other people that we, encounter. I know for myself, I can feel pretty deeply. I think that I have this sense of feel that a lot of other people have been like, yeah, I don't understand why you think about it that way, or why you've put so much thought into something that they might think is, minuscule in their overall day and stuff like that. But I think we might be, as humans, a little more, I don't know, avoidant of these sensations that we have sometimes. I think with social media and our cell phones and stuff like that, and all these other distractions that we kind of have lost connection with it. And I think as humans, we can all have this sense. But I think as artists and musicians and people that create, people that have this imagination or this ability to imagine things and then bring it into fruition by applying these techniques of art, I think that we might be a little bit more in tune with them rather than just a regular kind of person. But yeah. And so I discuss that quite a bit on here. I talk about how it influences my artwork. And I talk about how it's helped me kind of perceive the things that I do pay attention to, which is simplicity of it and how it's all actually connected. It might seem complex and stuff like that, whenever you sit down in front of this canvas, this raw canvas, and it's just staring back at you and you feel like, where do I go from here? It's a lot like life sometimes. You get approached with these scenarios, these situations, and you like start asking yourself, what do I do now? Who has the answer? What's the right way to do it? And the fact is that there is no right way to do it. The fact is, like in art, there's a multitude of approaches. There's a multitude of styles and renderings and applications. And even when you're taught how to do it, like as far as an art school technically correct way, you can still mold it and manipulate it into however it suits you. And today, with that being said, I think what I wanted to talk about a little bit was adversity in our lives, the things that we struggle with, the things that make us who we are. And I think adversity is a good one to kind of touch on. First, I guess we'll start out with like the technical definition of it is adversity is a state of instance of serious or continued difficulty or misfortune showing courage in the face of adversity. So I think about that. And I think about how many times a day we might feel like we can't do something, or how many times a day we feel like we want to reach out to somebody, and we get that notion in our mind, we get that feeling in our gut that says like, well, maybe I should text this person, or maybe I should call them and see what's up. Like, I talk about that a lot with my friends, with people that I meet, and I always tell them that I've avoided that in the past before too, and I think this year that I've started opening myself up to those opportunities, facing that adversity, like even if it is because I'm like nervous about what it is that I'm going to say to them, or how I'm going to talk to them, or phone conversations can be so jumbled sometimes, like people cutting each other off, especially on Zoom. It's been pretty difficult to learn this curve of like when to speak, when to not speak, and how long is appropriate to allow people to, get back to you like in the conversation. But it's important to kind of like face that adversity, right? In the sense of facing your own fear. And that can be discomfort. For me, it's a discomfort. For me, it's more being like shy or, anxious because I'm worried that I'm going to say something stupid, which I think we can all, kind of know where that's coming from, right? Or we can all relate to that in a certain way. But adversity is pretty big in the art world. And the way that adversity of the world has actually affected us, if you think about it, has created styles of artwork, right? And we might not think about it too much, but there's actually like, 5 more recent styles that have been created through an adversity, through like pandemics and things like that, like one that we've been experiencing recently. As far as the seriousness of it, that's left to be seen. As far as whatever it is your opinion is on it, it doesn't matter really. It's just the fact that it has affected the world in some way or another, and it can be positive, negative, and sometimes it can be pretty negative. But things like wars, pandemics, political protests. I mean, there's been a lot of unrest and stuff like that in this day and age that has spawned a lot of thought and a lot of creativity and a lot of hostility sometimes. And it's unfortunate when we're all so much alike. It sucks that we have to fight so much. But regardless of my opinions, one of the biggest ones is like the Renaissance. During the Middle Ages, the bubonic plague, it kind of took over Europe, right? It killed like 50 million people or 60 million people or something like that. But the tragedy also gave rise to the Renaissance. And I talk about this so much, and I feel like it's so crazy how simple it can be, like that whole comment or that whole thing that we always say about when you plant a seed, it's under manure, it's under shit. And it blossoms this life, and it gives us this essence of life. It's just nutrients for things that we eat, or like plants that give us oxygen. You know what I mean? This symbiotic kind of thing. It's incredible. It can be as simple as that even. But out of this turmoil and out of this pandemic came the Renaissance. So that's pretty awesome. I mean, we can all think of like some Renaissance artists that we know, like, Michelangelo, Rembrandt, Botticelli, and I think Caravaggio might have been in there too, but was one of my favorite artists. But they started painting scenes that were like in celebration of life and all of its, like, things that can be looked at as a beneficial thing about enjoying this experience in life. So like it's pretty awesome. I mean, when you think about it, another one is realism. That started in France after the French Revolution, in 1848, as one of, I think is what it says, as one of history's most dramatic upheavals. The revolution put an end to the French monarchy and gave freedom to ordinary individuals. So that's pretty big too, right? And the realism stuff is, I love looking at those paintings. Some of these things, they're huge. When you go to a museum and you get to see them in person, it floors me every time, man. Like the way that they've nailed the lighting, the way they've exaggerated like some of the field of depths, you know what I mean? The way they've added these darker tones, and some of them were actually using blacks and stuff like that in paintings, which was kind of a no-no for a while. But it's pretty cool how we started breaking rules of the art world at that point in time too, through this adversity, right? Just ways that they wanted to achieve what it was that they were trying to do in response, either consciously or unconsciously, to this adverse effect that was happening around us at that time, around the French people at that time. Gustave Courbet, John Francois Millet, I think is how you pronounce his name. Monet. They played a pivotal role in the rise of realism. They did real world things too. It wasn't like some aristocracy, some king or like some highfalutin person that had all this money and stuff like that. Aristocrats is the word that I was looking for. Sorry, but they painted like laborers. They painted peasants, like people that they saw beauty in like the real function of the world around them and stuff like that. And I think it's amazing that was the case, because it came from such a different place.
Hey, Ricardo.
Yeah.
If you don't mind me interrupting, we've got some cool good friends in the chat saying hello. Hey, Bruno,
Hello.
What's up? And Akshay, we haven't heard from you in a while. At least I haven't in the last couple weeks. So great to have you here, and thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, Akshay and Bruno, what's up, guys? Good morning and good evening, Akshay. Glad to have you guys with us. It's always good to have you guys hanging out, man. Such cool people. Let's see here. I hope you guys have been well, and I hope you guys enjoyed the holiday. But this one is fun, because this one is actually one of Jason's, like, it's like, I think he scathes every time he thinks about this kind of movement. It's called I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but the Dada or Data, the Data, I think is what it's called, maybe. That movement, it emerged as an anti-war movement. You know what I mean? Following the brutality of the First World War and technological innovations. You know what I mean? Like, and stuff like machine guns and like, urinals and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like things that were just modernized and made it a little bit more convenient for our world. But it was a response. It led to like this, that whole movement of like the machine guns, the creation of all this war materials. It led to this like loss of life. You know what I mean? But from the 16th to the mid 20s, 1920s, artists like Marcel Duchamp, Tristan Zara, I think is how you pronounce the name, Hannah Hawk. They used the art to protest like against the pro-war society and new technology. You know what I mean? So like, I think one of them, which is one of Jason's worst, I think he hates this one so much, it's called The Fountain, but it's by Marcel Duchamp. You know what I mean? If you guys get a chance, look it up. He basically took this urinal and turned it upside down and put it on a pedestal, and it's just like an installation piece. And the cool thing about installation pieces is that it's designed to invoke different emotions in people and its presence, right? So it's like one of those things where you have to kind of be there. And I never really understood a lot of the installation stuff either until I started like visiting it myself. You know what I mean? And that was another thing that I had this opinion on, and I made this judgment call before I went into like visit it myself. And after I did, I started to like kind of interpret what it was that it was intended for. So that's another one of those times, right? Social realism, that flourished between the two world wars in response to the hardships of the period, including the Great Crash and the money crash, right? Artists turned to realist portrayals of workers. They held them up as symbols of strength in the face of adversity, holding political powers accountable. Jacob Lawrence, who had grown up in Harlem during the Great Depression, protested racial inequality in works like the Migration series. If you guys get a chance, check it out. It's pretty awesome. I think he designed that in 40 or 43 or something like, or 41 or something. But check it out. It's pretty awesome. And it's like, again, it's one of those things that we face in adversity. I think that there's this connection we all have. And I think without there being any spoken words, a lot of times you can be in a room. Like, think about how many times you've walked into a room and there might be some people there, and this is all up to interpretation for sure, but there's definitely this vibe, like, what's going on here? What did I walk into? It can be hostile sometimes. Sometimes you can question it as far as like what it is that, was somebody talking about me? That is an entirely different scenario. However, there's still this vibration that you're picking up on. And I think that's what I'm talking about with this adversity thing. And art, the way we're in tuned to the world around us, and the way that it influences us, and either, like I said again, the conscious or subconscious kind of level. So, it's one of those things. Pop art during the 50s and 60s, I think we all know Andy Warhol. Artists made work that mirrored and critiqued, incorporated everyday items from increasingly consumerist culture. That one's a big one for me, the consumerist culture. I don't draw a lot of the ideas that I have for this consumer world that we live in. And I think I've talked with Lauren about this before and a few other friends and stuff like that too. But I personally think that like commercialism is like destroying our culture. It's destroying what we can be as humans. We're so, we identify so hard, so easily with like what this commercial is telling you that you need to have in order to feel good. And it sucks so bad because the stuff is designed in order to trick, us into thinking that that's the case. They don't really tell you exactly that this will make you feel better. They just kind of display that in the commercial. You know what I mean? I do my best to kind of avoid TV and like as far as television with commercials and stuff like that. That's why when Netflix came around, I was blown away. I was like, this is great. And even on Hulu, I was using that, but then they started adding all those commercials, and I don't want to pay for an extra source, so I just don't do it, But it's important to kind of step away from some of that stuff sometimes, even on your phones. Every other swipe up on Instagram or Facebook and stuff like that. There's all these little ads and stuff placed there now, and it's kind of unfortunate. But it's it's a choice that we all do, that we all have in order to pay attention to that or not, or to realize what it is that's actually happening around us. But I'm not really that big into some pop art, but I do like what they were going with like, kind of like that response to this idea of commercialism and stuff like that. Barbara Kruger is another one. Jeff Koons, you know what I mean? I Shop, Therefore I Am is a pretty good one. Barbara Kruger made this picture. If you guys get a chance, check it out. It kind of reminds me of, I don't know if you guys have ever seen, what's the name of that movie? Let me look it up. It's got like the Obey with the sunglasses and stuff like that. I can never remember that. What's the name of that movie? I'll remember it in a little bit when I look it up.
Hey guys, Jason just hit me up and said that there may be a wrong Zoom link in the community app. So I'm going to post that in just a minute. So if anybody was trying to get in, just check back in a couple minutes.
Yeah, killer. Thanks, Jason. They Live. Have you guys ever seen that? Have you ever seen that movie, Lauren?
I don't think so.
Oh my God, dude, you got to watch it. It's a bad, good movie. You know what I mean? But it's pretty cool the way that they display like this, like these aliens kind of all around us and stuff like that. These people put on these sunglasses, they can kind of see through the disguise, and it's radical because I think of that as like, as far as commercials go, you know what I mean? There's always these like substructured kind of intentions behind them, and it's all for profit. You know what I mean? It sucks pretty bad, but so that's the art history lesson of today, I guess. But that was just kind of like what I was talking about with adversity. You know what I mean? As far as how important it can be for us to realize that that's something that's pretty natural. You know what I mean? I think as people, as a creature of life and stuff like that, we all try to kind of veer away from discomfort. You know what I mean? And it makes total sense. Like, why would you want to be out in the rain if you can have an umbrella? And you know what I mean? Why would you want to be out in the cold without a jacket? Like, it makes total sense. Like, comfort on survival levels is pertinent. And I think it's important to understand that there's a difference between avoiding our emotions, avoiding these truths that we might find about ourselves or that we know are there, and not addressing them. I think the best thing we can do in our life for ourselves, for the people around us, for the people that listen to us, I think it's important for us to kind of dive into it head on. Hey, let's wait a second here while Jason's connecting. Give him a good morning hello. Jason.
I heard you mentioned my name.
Yes, sir. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty well, man. So believe it or not, I am actually a big fan of Marcel Duchamp.
Okay.
It's Cy Twombly.
That's what it was. Okay.
That I
Cy
don't
Twombly.
really like.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get started because we all know I can talk for hours on how I don't agree with what he creates.
Okay. I do know.
I'm trying to start my day off right in a positive light, in a positive aspect, and I'm not trying to go down the Cy Twombly road quite this early. I haven't even caffeinated.
Hey guys, I'm gonna Atomic. If you want to join in, actually, if you want to join in, I can send you a direct message. We're having problems posting the link. Otherwise, I can post it in the YouTube chat quickly and then take it down in just a couple minutes, just in case.
Yeah.
Does that sound good?
Pop on in, guys.
Yeah, let's do that.
Party.
Yeah, I haven't talked to you guys in a little while. Would love to see you.
Yes. It's been a minute, man, for sure. I hope everybody's been doing well.
Yeah, especially Akshay, man. I've seen the stuff you've been posting.
Yeah, dude, it's been killer.
Well, man.
Yes, like night and day, like switching it up. I love seeing that whenever an artist, like they have that level up kind of moment, right?
It's that epiphany, man. It's that that aha, I get it moment, right?
Yeah, dude. You know what? And that's the thing, man. I look back and I reflect on the times that I've noticed those for myself, and I'm starting to understand that it was understanding of the concept. It was like ingesting it, like it actually not just reading the definition, but it actually like settling into and behind my eyeballs, right?
Right.
Yeah. So it's pretty incredible because like it's these perceived kind of like ideas, these perceived notions and stuff like that, like, and watching it happen and asking the right questions at the right time, right? Like everybody's always telling you, remember to go, if you go there and you're talking to somebody that you look up to, remember to ask the right questions. Well, yes, there is some preparation for sure that can help, but like the right questions are when they happen. Does that make sense to you?
It does. Timing can be everything. And that's what I know this firsthand from interviewing the people that I have.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of it also comes from an understanding of the subject matter that you're asking about, right? To know the right questions, you have to know what would constitute a good question.
Yeah.
Because if you can't understand what a good question is, how can you ask the right question?
Right.
It's something that I'm a huge advocate of this philosophy. Some people may agree, some people may not. That's fine if they don't. But sometimes it's almost a blessing to know what you don't know.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, I agree
completely. Because if you know what you don't know, then you can go through and you now have the ability to learn what you don't know.
Right.
But if you don't know what you don't know, then you need to go back to the beginning, you need to go back to the origin, and you need to start from scratch.
Yeah. Yeah, like you and I have talked multiple times, and I've talked to you about like this mirrored effect that we all have on each other, right? And we hear things, especially things that are pertinent to us are usually things that we relate to, right? And that's the way that we can, and I form bonds and stuff like that with people sometimes, is because they've said the same thing in a sense of the way you feel it and the way you think about it, right? And we all have these same emotions and these same ideas and stuff like that. Sometimes they vary quite a bit, depending on like circumstances from previous life and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But like, it's crazy because I know exactly what you mean, and like I'm trying to word it in my own way, where it's like you don't even realize that the questions you need to ask are there until you are ready to even assimilate it, or like to ingest it, or like to define it for your own self, right? And to know that you're looking for it. Like it's like whenever when you're a child and your parents trying to teach you something, it's very different from their perspective, right? So like you don't really conceive it that well, but it's something that sets in there for a while, and then it kind of pops up, and it's that moment of experience and adversity and trial, and then like something happened to instigate that seed to be like opened up at that moment. Does that make sense to you? I think that's the way that I relate to what it is that you're asking, or the way that you said about the right questions and stuff like that. Yeah.
I felt like that yesterday when I was, I didn't necessarily fully comprehend what was going on with the Tattoo Weekly. And I just sent you and Jason a screenshot. Talking to Shanghai Kate was one of those things. And I was thinking like, what do I want to know? And that was something that Bruno and I spoke about when he did his podcast recently.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys watched his Hablemos de Arte podcast, but he was saying, what do I want to know? I ask the questions that I think that I actually want to know. And as simple as that, that's kind of where I led yesterday, and she responded so well, which was really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, asking yourself, what would you want to know? So not asking the questions that you think everybody else wants to know, or creating all these scenarios where you could ask the perfect question and gain so much insight or whatever, but just ask yourself,
Yeah, I agree completely. And that's one of those things where like a person that you are asking a question to, it can make them realize that connection is that much stronger at that moment too, right? Like you ask them the right question, they've never been asked it before, or they get asked it in a different way that it proposes a different response from them, so that's pretty fun too, man. I agree with that completely.
Yeah, do you want to go ahead and say hi to Akshay joined? Awesome to see you. And Jason,
Yes.
I agree with what you're saying too.
Hello, sir.
Akshay,
Hello,
good
Jason,
morning.
sir. Hello, Lauren, ma'am. Good morning, sir.
What's up, bud?
What's up, sir? How's it going, sir?
Pretty good.
Long time.
Junior.
Yeah, you've been
we're
pretty
just starting
busy,
our day
you?
over here, so it's a little bit different.
Yes, ma'am. It's evening right now here, and I thought to just join in. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it has been a little while.
Sir.
You've been pretty busy, haven't you?
Yes, sir. I was a little bit busy with tattooing, and I was also traveling for like tattooing scenes. I was working with one campus music festival, and they like so I asked him to like have a tattooing scene over on the festival. So I like did one booth, and the response was amazing. Crowd was amazing. I had great experience. Really happy for that.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yes,
taking
sir.
over the world,
it was
man.
my first experience.
That's great.
Crazy,
I'm glad
sir.
that it was a positive response for you, man. That's awesome to hear.
Yes, sir. It was really nice.
Mm-hmm.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. I've been pretty busy myself as well. We're getting ready for the holidays over here in the States and stuff like that. So and then trying to stay warm. Does it get cold over there where you're at?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like this time, it's really cold. I'm wearing a jacket right now.
Nice.
So, yes, sir. It's cold right now. It's
Okay,
crazy
gotcha.
season.
Well,
Yeah,
I think cold is a relative term. We need to define what cold is. Because remember, people that live in Florida, they think 60 degrees is cold.
How
That's
about
true.
60 below
crazy.
zero? That's the temperature that happens. 60 degrees Fahrenheit below zero is something you never want to experience.
No. Mm-mm.
Oh wow.
What was it, 2 years ago? I'm sure we're in the same kind of area, Lauren. It's the Midwest area. It's like, I think we got down to negative 30 a couple years ago or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
Yeah, it was
incredible.
yeah, it happens. It's crazy what you can do with your time. I think it's like a dynamic that's so different. You know, you have a lot of time to just be inside in an environment like this, whether or not
Mhm.
that's where artists kind of flourish or outside.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
in
for
our
sure.
area, I feel like we do have a lot of really good artists that seem to kind of just enjoy hibernating throughout the winter.
Yeah, definitely. You can use it. You can use it to drink and to paint.
Yep.
And come get tattooed too, right? Like stay warm, stay inside, come get tattooed. That should be like a sticker or something somewhere. And have a beer. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's been great to see. It's good to see you, Akshay. I know Jason was talking about like some of the work you've been putting out, man. It's looking great, dude. I'm really excited to see that.
Sir, like right now I'm not posting anything. I don't know why, but I have done a lot of tattoos. Mostly illustrative work. Recently, I did one small portrait kind of illustrative design. I'm really happy with that design. Um,
Cool.
yes, sir.
Do you
But
mind if
like
I
I'm
share
like,
some of your work?
yes, I'm sure.
Okay, yeah, that way we can see what we're talking about here.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yes, I'm the
Yeah.
first one.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it looks clean, man. Super clean. Look at that.
Yes, sir. Actually, this is a little bit of cover up. I did like small like camouflage thing with this tattoo, but like my main focus was to like put the attention of the eyes on the face only to the different area from where the old tattoo is.
Mhm.
So like really happy with this design and like the style that I did. I'm
Yeah.
really moving towards like illustrative style, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Definitely.
remember when you first started jumping on, you were asking a lot of questions about it, and you definitely showed a
Yes,
lot of
sir.
interest in it, man. And it looks like
Yes, sir.
yeah, it looks like when Jason was showing you some stuff, definitely you got it, man. It's looking good.
Yes, sir. Chrysanthemum said in the last videos, last sessions, I tried those flowers and it's coming out like it's really helping me, sir.
Okay.
It's so amazing. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's one of the things that we all talk about with this forum, man. You know, like jumping on the guys' Monday night drawing classes and stuff like that, and how much it's helped me just advance with my own art and stuff. What do we got here?
This is something I
Video.
thought was really cool. I really liked this video.
Yeah.
Kind of puts it into perspective of your process.
Yeah.
Yes,
Very cool.
like just wanted to show like something related to work. This is just my little space that I work from my private studio.
Okay.
Um,
I like that.
yes, sir. But wanted to like keep it hygienic and clean. That's the first priority.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like following all the hygiene protocol.
It's good. Yeah, it looks great, man. Did you film it with a phone camera, or did you use a digital
Uh,
camera?
yes, sir. This is digital camera DSLR. I
Okay.
asked one of my friends to like film this, like do some little documentaries for me, like short videos, so that I can post. So
Cool.
he's recording these videos these days.
Okay. Cool. That helps out quite a bit
Yes,
because it can get pretty time consuming, some of these videos and stuff, believe it or not. Like especially
yes,
for
sir.
they can be fairly short, but man, it takes a little bit of time to get the hang of editing them and putting them together for sure. This one looks great.
Yeah, I like
I
all the
like the
different
angles.
angles and stuff. Super cool.
That's exactly what I was just going to say too. I like
Yeah, it really
the way
gives
it
you the
moves through.
full perspective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't get to just see it from over the shoulder. You get to see like the whole space. It kind of involves you, doesn't it?
That's awesome.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, look at that, man. Do you find yourself doing a lot of black and gray?
Yes, sir. Like I think like because of the skin tone because we
Okay.
have more brown skin tone.
Mhm.
Like I don't know, like we can do more colors. I have like a little bit of that kind of like mindset that I can't do more colors on like in our skin tone. That's why I go like more towards black and gray. But I wanted to try colors, sir. I'm really desperate to try colors. But I don't know, this is the limitation that I'm facing right now. I can't do like I wanted to learn colors first, then I'll try some colors.
Yeah, once we get these this COVID thing a little bit more figured out, maybe we can all travel and get some work done and
Yes,
stuff like
sir.
that together, man. That'd be great.
Sir, come to India. It's crazy right now here.
Yeah.
Tattoo conventions, yes, sir. Like you should come to Goa Tattoo Festival. It's one of the international conventions. You can come to Nepal. Nepal is also amazing. Crazy
Yeah.
artist over there. And
Nice.
you can come to Delhi also. We have this festival, Heartwork Tattoo Festival. It's been going from last 5 years, and it's so amazing. All the artists from all the countries there, they travel and like we can explore. And tattooing in India is really becoming nice. Like the standard of tattooing is gone, like just like international tattooing. So there are good artists
Mhm.
over here in Mumbai, Bombay, and in Delhi. Yes, sir. You should definitely plan a trip to India.
Yeah, we'll have to do that. We'll have to do that. I know
I have
Jason's talked
seen
to me
Jeff
about it
Ogway,
before.
sir, also here.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Yeah, we can, Ricardo,
Yes,
we
sir.
could
I
go
had
through
one
and just pack
picture.
up some stuff in backpacks. Just go
Yeah.
backpacking.
Arre,
Yeah.
yes,
That would
sir.
be
In
killer.
mountains, in Manali. Yes, sir. My
I do.
hometown is the
I'll
in the
just hand
mountains.
poke everything. Just hand poke it.
Be like, yeah, you want a baseball
So
size
you,
tattoo? Do you have 2 days for me?
This rock is sharp enough. We'll just use this rock.
Just bring some lighters. Bring some lighters, right?
crazy, sir. Crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, I was being
No.
serious.
Oh yeah, me too, man. It'd be
I'm
fun to go over
totally
there.
down for that. Like that would be awesome. No,
What do you-
we'll go Native American. We'll just grab some bird bones.
Oh
Sharpen
yeah,
those up.
they were talking about the bird bones and what is it, the shoot, the cactus plant spines and stuff like
Yeah.
that too, right? Yeah. That's crazy, dude. Let's do it. Why not, man? So can you let us know a little bit more about
We have one
the
artist in
festival?
India.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
So we have one artist in India. His name is Mo Naga, and he's from the eastern side of India, and he does all hand poke tattoos,
Oh
and
wow.
he use it like all traditional way. He yes sir, like he was. I met him when I was doing my apprenticeship in Bombay, and he was telling me the stories about like in his tribe he used like small uh, oh, what do we say, thrones, uh, and uh,
Thorns.
and like yes sir, and
Mm-hmm.
use like antiseptic plants with those thorns and make like homemade ink, and they used to tattoo with that thorns, sir. uh,
It's incredible.
and like the process is so amazing, but like right now he's using like sterilized needles, but like the way he tattoo and he tells all the story before like doing the tattoo to his all clients, and then goes with that tribal scene. It's so crazy.
Nice. Killer, man. It's like a whole nother connection to the work that
Sir.
you're doing, you know? I know Lauren was talking a while back
Yes sir,
about
yes sir.
some of the artists in Australia, or was it New Zealand, that they were making their own inks and stuff like that for a while. But yeah, it's pretty rocking.
Yeah,
man.
that would have been generations and generations ago. They were using totally different methods with a special dog and the poop from the dog and stuff like that. So
Incredible, man. I love that. Let's see. So, you guys working on anything today? Actually, you're done with work for the day, I'm assuming. So, and I know Jason's
Yes sir,
going
I
to go
had one
working a
tattoo
little bit.
today. I did.
Mm-hmm. Did you have a good time with it? What was the tattoo of?
Yes, sir. Like right now, I just wanted to draw something like really rough, so I'm drawing these stars. That's what I taught us that day.
Oh, nice, dude.
Yes, sir. I wanted to like do them like fairly. So these are like some rough sketches. Yes. So like I wanted to draw these from different perspectives, some angles. So that's what I'm trying right now.
Killer. Yeah, that was another one of those things that Jason was explaining too, man. That's awesome, dude. Look at that.
Yes, sir.
What do you think,
Yes,
Jason?
sir. It's amazing.
I like it. Definitely has good flow, good perspective. My biggest issue whenever I draw flowers, especially peonies, is I overcomplicate them. I had way too many petals. So my best advice is
Yes, sir.
keep it simple. You know, try to do maybe not including the interior bulb of the flower, not including that. Try to keep it to like 1 layer or 2 layers at the most, maybe 5 petals a layer. That would be the best advice I could ever give you on that. But I mean, what you have going on is solid. Like they're all tattooable. I would definitely use those for a tattoo without hesitation.
That's killer.
Bravo, man.
So like I'm practicing more and more on these. Like the more I practice, the more these flowers thing get clear to me. It's crazy, sir.
That's good to hear because that's exactly what should happen. You know what I mean? Like it should be a little bit more intuitive after a while too. Like you're starting to see a little bit more of like the way it flows together, the way it works with itself. That's pretty awesome, man.
Yes, sir.
And I think that's a big part of everything is just repetition, right? You know, using that
Yes, sir.
muscle memory that we all have and doing something 12,000 times, you're gonna create that repetition and that muscle memory that will allow you to execute that way faster.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, sir.
You can be able to draw it on with markers and stuff too. Dude,
Yeah, but
I don't know
once
about
you have
guys.
that muscle memory down, it doesn't matter what you're using, you can do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah. You guys watch some of the videos of Horiyoshi, just like, you know, drawing an oval with a couple lines, like one for the symmetry line and one for the brow, and then just literally going in with a tattoo machine and just tattooing a face, like a Japanese style face or like a dragon or like a food dog. And you're like, what in the hell did I just watch? You know what I mean? But it's incredible because the guy has a lifetime like worth of tattooing. You know what I mean? And he's been, you know, in tuned with this imagery for such a long time. He can just sit down and literally do it with no stencil or nothing, man. It's fucking incredible to see.
You know
Yeah.
who else is like that? Bill
that?
Canales,
Okay.
San Diego.
Okay.
You're like, Bill, I want a dragon. And he's like, all right. And he just sits down and he does it. He doesn't, and it's flawless every time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he doesn't even have to think about it, you know, because he's
Right.
been drawing dragons for 30 years. So when you have that kind of muscle memory down, it really doesn't take a lot.
Nope.
Wow, sir, 30 years.
Yeah, 30 years, man. Like a lifetime for some people, you know?
Yeah, it's only a few years shy of how long I've been
Yes,
alive.
sir.
There you go.
Yes, sir. I'm 28 right now.
28. Man, it seems like a lifetime ago for me.
Yeah, Ricardo, you're still young. What are you talking about?
Yep, I am. Just turned 44. Not that big of a deal.
Yeah, and you still act like you're 14.
I do. It depends on the circumstance, but yes, it's true. We'll go with yes on that one.
I love the way you and I are sitting down to work on oil paintings.
Yeah.
Never thought I'd see this day.
That's what I'm talking about. I've been wanting to do this, man. Well, here we are, bro. I like it. I've been working on this one for a little while. I'm starting to get a little bit happier with the shapes and stuff like that on it.
That's small, dude.
It's really little.
I didn't realize how tiny that was.
Yeah, I mean, here's my hand. You can kind of see how little it really is. Yeah. So it's actually, here's the reference that I'm using too. I'll show you the reference. Can you see it? Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I found this. This was gifted to me. It's a 3D printing of the Buddha Bender. I don't know if you guys watch Futurama or not, but if you haven't, do yourself a favor and start watching it as soon as you can. It's a great show. But yeah. So just going through and refining a couple things here and there. I think I'm going to keep the background pretty loose, but I'm definitely still going to add more to it. But I think I want to keep it fairly loose and just have fun with it. What time is it right now? Let's see, it's 9:30. Okay, cool. We're good with time. But yeah, I think I'm gonna keep it pretty loose. I haven't had a whole lot of time for oil painting and stuff like that. So I've been doing it in between clients, like, 20, 30 minutes here and there, an hour or so. Scarf down some food real fast and get right back on it. And I don't know if you guys saw it earlier, but I had a big smear of oil paint on my shirt. I'm like, great. Starting the day off right.
Hazards of the job, my friend.
Yep. Plan to come in and go, is that mustard on your shirt? No, just oil paint. Just oil paint. NBD. Yeah, man, here we are painting together, dude.
Yeah, I'm still getting some colors out. I try not to pour too much at any given time.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm just going with tiny, tiny little dots of it.
Uh-huh.
But
yeah, I would say that's the big difference that I've noticed with oil paints versus other mediums, is that a little bit can go a really long way. And I enjoy this process quite a bit. I'm using it. Hey, look, Jason, I don't know if you can see it or not, but this brush is really little and it's kind of round too, believe it or not.
I never thought I'd see this day.
I know, right? Tell me about it.
I never thought I would ever see you use a round brush.
It's actually flat, but it's really small. So just later, it's still flat. It's just not gigantic.
Yeah, I just picked up one of those as well. I don't know how well you can see this, but
yep, there you go.
Yeah, it's just a little filbert. It's like the smallest sized filbert I could find.
Yeah, me too. Like, this is the one that I found. Like, look at the little handle and everything too. It's like, oh, it's cute.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Is that a Royal Langnickel?
Look at you. It is a filbert. It is a Master's Touch 10/0.
Okay.
We go with the affordable ones. Some of the brushes are crazy expensive, man. It's nuts.
Yeah, I've seen oil brushes that go for over $100 a piece.
Wow.
And I'm like, for one brush, that brush better be able to do everything I could ever imagine for $150.
Right.
I've also seen some watercolor brushes, some like real, authentic, natural, like sable brushes that are like unbelievably expensive. And I'm just not about that life.
No.
Like, I don't mind spending a little bit of money for a decent brush that'll last me a lot of years. But I ain't trying to spend that kind of money.
Heck no.
I am way cheaper than that.
I don't mind it either. It's just, it seems a little high for like a small little brush like this. And I know myself. That's the other part of it too. Is like, I know myself. I know how I treat these brushes. It's not very good. So
you
like, I'm
do
just
have
gonna
a tendency to abuse your brushes pretty
time.
Thorough.
You remember, it was like the first time we painted together with that dragon. You're like, dude, what are you doing to these brushes? What do you mean?
So I did find out through trial and error, believe it or not, that regular Windex glass cleaner, because of the ammonia in it, can help restore some of those old brushes.
Okay.
So you may want to try, I would start out with some dish soap like palm olive or Joy or whatever, because that stuff's meant to break down grease and oil. So I would start out washing some of those older brushes that you have with that, and just try to get as much out of that as humanly possible. And then I would switch over to something like a Windex, and you'll actually be able to feel it on the texture of the bristles, like how that ammonia is breaking down all of the paint that's still stuck in those bristles.
Gotcha. Okay, I'll give it a go. But then it's going to lose the magic of the brush, though. You know what I mean?
Oh, it won't lose the magic of it. I mean, it'll still do what it's designed to do.
I know, I'm just fucking around. It's like that old adage from tattoo artists from, you know.
Oh yeah.
You can't mess with the machine. It loses the magic, man. You can't clean that thing off. Like, oof. Okay.
Yeah, like steel tubes. Why would you ever want to, you know, clean a steel tube? You're getting rid of all that magic.
Where's the magic
filing down the grooves that are created by a magnum in a steel tip.
Right.
No. That's where those needles go. Like, that's why that's there.
It's been made that way, son. Yes, sir. No problem. Yeah, this is I found myself at night. I have spent a little bit extra time on this all night, but I found myself like saying I'm gonna leave the shop in the next like 30 minutes. And it's always the next 30 minutes, right? And it ends up being like 2 hours later. I'm like, oh shit, I need to go home.
Yeah, you should know by now, Ricardo, that our 2 minutes being artists is usually around 3 hours.
Yeah, dude. You know how many clients?
Which is a pretty accurate estimate, if you ask me.
Yeah, I would say yes. I'm gonna go with yes on that one. I have so many clients, dude. They're like asking me how much longer for a tattoo. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, it's really hard to tell. I don't know, like another 20, 30 minutes and like 2 hours go by. Like, you're right. Oh my God. It's true. It's like it's tattoo time.
Yeah, there's actual time and then there's tattoo time.
Yeah, so for anybody that doesn't tattoo that's watching, make sure and let you know.
Sir, I wanted to ask one question.
What's up?
So like, do you face sometimes while tattooing this kind of problem, like the needles, the way the needles used to run in the first few hours, it doesn't go like after 4 to 3 hours. Like, I feel sometimes like the needles are not like pulling the lines very strong, something like that. Is it possible that the needles are like somewhat big? But I clean my needles every time. Like, after few strokes, I clean my needle, like wash it with tissue paper and in the wash cup. But still, like after few hours, or like I am tired of tattooing for like 8 hours. That's why the lines are not pulling like that strong. Do you face sometimes this kind of problem?
I have, and I found a couple different issues with it that might help out. The first question I have for you is like, what kind of tissue paper are you using? Are you using something that has a lot of like fuzz to it, like white paper towels?
Like, they don't have white textures on it. Like, it's like normal face tissue papers that I use.
Well,
but they are like little bit thick in quality.
They're thick in quality?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, so I know a lot of times for me, what I found is like, I like using shop towels more than anything else. A lot of people don't like them. A lot of people say that it just smears the ink around on the skin and stuff like that. But what I have found that works really well for me, there you go. See, Jason's got them right there.
These are shop towels, by the way, for those of you that don't know. They're blue, lint-free. They feel like cloth.
Yeah.
They're very durable. I prefer them for painting over tattooing because I think they're a little pricey. And I am so cheap when it comes down to stuff like that. But they do work really, really well. They're super absorbent.
So that's the thing that I was going to say is that like the lint-free thing is the key word there. and the key scenario when it comes to using paper towels that might cause that issue for you. Because a lot of times, depending on what size liner are you using, do you notice them over like a 3 or a 5 or 7? Like what kind of liners are you using?
So like mostly I'm using like 9 RL of
Okay.
Quadron.
So you
But
definitely
like,
have grooves and stuff like that from the collection of the needles that are tapered down to the point, right? So
yes,
in
sir.
those, so when you're wiping the needle off of on the towel, there's still friction. The machine most likely, I don't know if you're running it
Yes,
while
sir.
you do it. I run it while I do it. Like I'll pull it back away from me.
Yes.
And that moving up and down, it's still collecting some of that lint. So it collects in those
Yes, sir.
grooves. It collects in those grooves, and that's usually what I found to be the problem with liners. Whenever you start finding that, like, it's not laying the ink, the line work the same way that it was at the beginning of the tattoo. So try switching up your paper towels first and foremost, and see what you think. See if it changes it for you.
Okay.
Because
So
lint free is what you're going for sure. And then as far as
answer like
rinsing the tube out, what's that?
no, sir. Like continue.
I was just gonna say, like, when you rinse the tube out, a lot of times I'll hold my machine, but I'll put my fingers on the back of the cup and push the machine towards the inside of the rim to kind of help create this like vibration in the water. I don't know if that helps out or
Okay.
not, but that seems to do a trick for me sometimes too. And a lot of times you can push the needles out of the tip of the tube, and then like pull the lint off with a paper towel.
Yes, that I do, like to clean the needles. Like I take out the needles. Yes, the cartridges. Then
yeah, I think that's probably what will help you out quite a bit. Is once you switch over to that lint free, it's probably going to do a world of wonders for you. So
I've actually I've encountered that a few times as well. If I may chime in here, if that's
go for it.
yes, sir.
Yeah, man.
There are some technical things that you can look into that may be causing that kind of an issue. For example, I've noticed that with certain machines that I own, it's not so much that
Yes,
the liner isn't doing its job anymore. Because think about it kind of in this way, right? Those steel pins are steel pins, right?
Yes, sir.
That's not necessarily always a variable. They're going to stay with the same sharpness. What you will encounter, though, is a decrease in motor power. So if your machine's running continuously for a very long time, over a period of time, that motor might not have quite the push that it once did if it wasn't designed for that. That may be an issue. There are certain machines out there that were never designed to run continuously. They were designed to run for a little bit and then stop, and then run for a little bit and then stop, and then run for a little bit and then stop. I think there's even some books out there that'll say, take a break after every 2 hours and let your machine sit for 10 minutes, in order for maximum benefit. So that may become an issue. I've also noticed in the past that as far as, not being able to pull that same kind of consistent line after hours is I need to reevaluate my stretch after a few hours. And that's because I get so comfortable and I get so used to stretching out that I stop really thinking about how much stretch I'm putting on it. And because I'm not really thinking about that anymore, it kind of goes by the wayside a little bit, right? Because I'm not actively focusing on how much I'm stretching the skin. So that may be something else that might be a contributing factor. I've heard some people over time saying, and this used to be a huge excuse that old school tattooers used to use all the time. Oh, well, the skin's just not taking the ink.
You're
Right?
bleeding too much. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you're bleeding too much. Skin's not taking the ink. Wrong. I've tattooed people for 12 hours before. Their skin still takes it.
Yeah.
And if you're working over the same spot so many times in that period of time that their skin is just getting chewed up, then yeah, their skin's not going to take ink because they're chewed up.
Yeah.
You know, but if you're constantly moving around different areas, then there's absolutely no reason why it shouldn't still work the way that it should. You know, but I've also
So
found that
sometimes I
that
think
can be due to a lack of stretch, and
yes,
you know, maybe pour a new cap of ink. Maybe it's not the needles, maybe it's not the machine, maybe it's the ink. I know some
yes,
artists that, especially for a lot of like solid black areas, for huge tribal areas, instead of pouring one big cap of black, they pour like 5 or 6 smaller ones. Because as you're tattooing, plasma is going to be sucked into that tube. And if you're not rinsing out all the time after every time you touch down, then that plasma is getting transferred into your ink cap and it's diluting that ink as you move through the piece. So by switching it up, instead of having one large cap and breaking it down into several smaller caps, you're maintaining the integrity of that pigment over a period of time.
okay, yes, sir.
See what I'm saying? So there could be any
Yes,
number
sir.
of different solutions to that problem.
No,
Yes, sir.
we're gonna go
So
with mine.
sometimes I think,
Just joking.
like, sir, uh, like sometimes I think like I get tired like after 4 or 5 hours, and that's why like I'm not fully concentrated on the tattoo, and then I like quickly think about the tattoo and like try to like gather my focus on the tattoo, and then again start working, and then the lines come to the like crispy lines. Uh, but I don't know, sir. Is this really an issue?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
I get
definitely an
tired
issue.
after like 2 hours of tattooing.
Yeah, tell me about it, man. Yeah, that's definitely an issue. Actually, I think if you're, especially if you're observing that that's the case, and that's the cause and effect. Like you're putting it to the test. You know what I mean? You have the control, and you're testing the control, and like you finding out that when you do take a break, you come back and you pull in the lines that you're looking for in the first place. That's a good possibility. You know what I mean? Like, from Jason and I have talked about this before. The amount of time that you used to be able to tattoo when you first start out versus, you know, after a collected amount of years of tattooing, it's like there's very few people that can still tattoo as long as they used to when they first started. Like, I know I only like a tattoo for about 4 or 5 hours at a time anymore. I will go longer, you know, whenever there's somebody that has to travel a distance for it and stuff like that. But for the better part, 4 or 5 hours, I'm pretty good. And like, that's it, you know, and I'll do some consults later in the day and stuff like that, but that's usually what I can give and sit down and focus. So, you know what I mean? So yeah, I would definitely think that that's part of it.
I usually like to take about an
Fatigue.
hour coffee break after 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I found that
Wow,
really
sir.
helps and really helps get me dialed back into the rest of it. You know, if I'm working on something all day,
Mm-hmm.
that's something that I found can be very beneficial. You know, take a
Yes,
little
sir.
bit of a breather and just relax. Have them soak in some Bactine and then go back to it.
Yeah, the vaccine soaker is awesome. That helps out quite a bit.
Sir, I
It
have
also
never
gives
used the
you
Bactine.
yeah, Bactine's the bomb.
It definitely takes the edge off for sure.
I was looking for Bactine on the internet because like my local suppliers, tattoo suppliers, they don't have the Bactine. So like I have to import it from US. So uh, yeah, yes, sir. That's why I didn't use it. I don't know like how to do that, but in future definitely.
What do you think,
Bactine really
Jason?
helps us. Like
Oh yeah, big time. It definitely helps. It helps the client sit for sure, and it's been used on me more recently, and I can definitely tell the difference. Definitely tell the difference.
Yeah, it also helps calm the skin down, especially if you're working with very delicate black and gray gradients. It'll help the
Okay, sir.
skin calm down and not get quite as red, so that way you can see the true value of the gray wash that you're putting in.
Oh, sir. Okay.
Yeah, this has been.
And sir,
Yeah, a lot of people.
like how to make like the client like comfortable, like for you, like what is the most comfortable um thing for the client is like how for position wise or like ergonomic wise, like we should like tell them to lay down on the bed or like sit comfortably on a chair. What do you think?
I like to have people lay down. I like laying people down, but you know, I think it's important to kind of take into consideration the piece that you're working on, though, because a lot of times when you're viewing the tattoo, it's always good to kind of not only be fine tuned in on the details. So sometimes that requires you to be a little bit closer in proximity to the person, but like, you know, you have to be able to sit back and observe the piece as a whole sometimes too. So even if you have them sitting straight up, what I'm getting at is that like sometimes it's better to have them sitting straight up for an arm piece, right? But I like to try to lay people down as much as possible, just for the comfort and for my comfort as well. But
Yes,
you
sir.
know,
Like,
but then you run into the problem of some people not being able to lay down for a very long time. It just is dependent, really. But I found that for me, I like to have them laying down. I'm able to like rest my arm like on the, you know, on the body part or around the body area a little bit more comfortably that way too, as long as the client's okay with it.
Yeah, you don't want to know my answer to that question.
And we will not ask.
Well, it's because to me, you know, having my client be comfortable and sit for a long period of time is one thing, but I'm usually more focused on how can I be more comfortable when I tattoo,
There you go.
right? Because you
Yes,
might be looking at it from the client perspective of having them sit for, you know, an hour or 5 hours or 8 hours at a time. I'm trying to gauge my longevity in this career in 5 years, 8 years, 12 years, 20 years. You know, so if I'm not sitting with a good posture and if I'm not comfortable tattooing them in a way that's going to be easy for me to get to, so that I'm not tweaking my back out and being completely hunched over the entire time, so that I'm not constantly turning 180 degrees to dip. You know, if I'm not doing that, I know I'm going to be able to tattoo for quite a few years longer. You know, and if that means I have to put my client in an uncomfortable position, then so be it. You know, I'll do what I have to do.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
yes, sir.
That's why I say, like, you don't want to know my answer to that, because I will come up with the most god awful ways to position my clients, and they will be so uncomfortable, but I will be just fine.
This doesn't hurt me a bit.
It doesn't, man. And
It's
I mean,
like that commentary.
I've had people sit completely hunched over before just to get a small section. They're like, oh man, my shoulder. And it's like, yeah, but that area is completely done now. And it took me a lot less time. You know, what's efficient?
There you go. Hey man, look, the more you complain about it, the worse it's gonna hurt. You know what I'm saying? Not just joking.
It's like, listen, every time you complain, I'm going to ratchet up the pain level by at least 1 notch. So go ahead, complain all you want.
Yes, sir.
No, usually it's somebody
Sir,
like whining
I
or
just
something.
use earphones. Like I use earphones and then
Oh yeah, that way you don't hear them scream.
Yes, sir.
it's like space.
Yes.
You never hear them scream.
Yes, sir. It helps me a lot, sir. Like it increases my speed. I can do the tattoo in less time. So amazing.
Yeah, I started doing that. I'll put in one earbud. So I've got these like Bluetooth earphones, and I'll just put the one in the one side, So I can still converse with my client, right? If they have a question or if they need to break or need to tell me something, you know, maybe they're getting lightheaded or dizzy. Maybe they hate the tattoo and the way that I'm doing things. Who knows? But I can still hear what they're saying. But in the other ear, I'll have like an audiobook going or some music or whatever I want to listen to, you know, so that way they still feel connected. I'm not completely ignoring them by putting on these huge, massive headsets. You know, it really helps it helps me zone out. And I think it helps me do a better tattoo.
Makes sense.
Yes, sir. So like in Germany, Marcus Leonard's studio is so crazy. So like he's having such an amazing setup for the studio. It's so beautiful, sir. Like he's having that warm light for the client and having a warm cup for the wash cups, and so that the amazing scenes.
I
Yeah,
didn't
I
know that
heard
he does
about
that.
that, man. And I was like, whoa.
Wait, what is he
luxury.
doing? What's going on?
Marcus Lenhard out in Germany.
Yeah.
Dude, he has like the ultimate tattoo experience.
What is he doing?
Yes.
He'll warm up his rinse cups, dude.
Oh, okay. That's awesome.
Right? He does
Yeah.
that. He's got, you know, like all of these other creature comforts for his clients that come in. And it's like,
Yes,
I don't
sir.
know if I'd go that. I might adopt some of the things he does, but I don't know if I'm going to go that.
Yes, sir. You should, sir.
I should.
Something
I
like
should.
I have an image for you is like something related to him. Yes, sir. Like crazy scene.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I do pamper the hell out of my clients. If it's what I always try to do is get like a color or my value study. And I'll print that out before I get started on the tattoo. And then I'll give them my iPad with a set of noise canceling Bluetooth headphones.
Yeah.
So that it cancels out all of the ambient noise and they can watch whatever they want to watch. I've got like every movie and streaming service they can imagine. And they can watch whatever they want to watch, you know? And I like doing it that way because if they're laying face down, I can just slide the iPad underneath like the little face hole in the massage table. I'll slide that down and have that sitting on the floor so they can watch. I've got a little like iPad extension arm to mount the iPad. So if they're sitting up in a chair, they can watch it. You know, if they're laying back at a 3/4 view, the arm will come up and over and extend in front of them so they can still watch it. If they're laying on their back, I just set it up so that the iPad is facing directly down and they can still watch it. You know, there's very few positions that I have to have them sit in where they can't, you know, watch something on the iPad. And they love it, man. They'll sit down and they'll start like, you know, a Netflix series or they'll be watching a movie or something. And I'll know when it's time for a break when they go to change the movie.
Yeah.
Right. So once that movie's done and they want to put on a new one, cool, break time. Right. It's just something that I started doing that started making a whole hell of a lot of difference.
Yeah, I was there when we worked on that project together, that back piece. That definitely helped out quite a bit. I noticed that. Like he was able to sit quite a bit more still and he seemed just overall more comfortable, right? So yeah. Totally, I agree with that. I know exactly what you're saying, yeah.
It's distracting. And that's what a lot of times people crave is a distraction while they're getting tattooed.
Yeah.
The guy HSN's studio is also so crazy. I have seen some videos. Like it's like some serious thing that one should experience in his lifetime.
What, guy's studio?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that it's pretty awesome. It really is.
Yeah, it's
when you walk in and it's like an art gallery. And you're like, wait a second, you do tattoos here? Like, I feel like I should be paying an entrance fee.
Right. Super mellow.
Right.
It's a great space, man. Very, very mellow, very relaxing there.
Very zen.
Yeah, I had to keep like shaking my head, like, am I awake? I've been wanting to come here forever. I always wondered where this place was, and I always felt like someday maybe, but I don't know. So I'm going through right now and adding some, kind of changing the shape of it a little bit and adding like some simple highlights and stuff like that that I'll kind of go back in and glaze back over at another time for another layer of depth. But I think I'm starting to like the shape of this one a little bit more. I had to kind of like render quite a bit of it the other day. The head was off and stuff like that. But I'm starting to feel it now. So I gotta mess around with this little dude down here too. But little blots of paint will kind of change the entire feel of it, which is scary to say, but
It's
true, like
very
right
true.
like right there. I'm just gonna scratch that little guy out. There we go. Just adding a little bit more contrast to the overall piece to help the shape and the form. And I recognize this character so much, I keep looking at it and going, that's not quite it. That's not quite it. I've seen this show, I don't even know how many times, and I love it, but just going through and adding a little bit of extra contrast to help the form come off the surface a little bit more and be recognized by the light sources that it's applying for me, that it's showing me. But the paint is fairly thick at this point still. I started out really light, really thin as far as the paint to thinner ratio. You can see the difference back here is really wet. And some of the stuff was even running. It was so thin. I'm not too concerned about that right now. Some of it I might let it show through. Some of it I might cover up with other layers of paint. There we go. That was there. But it's pretty incredible what you can do with some paint that's already on the surface, and add a little bit of thinner or medium, like a gel medium, and kind of blending out that wet paint. And I'm not too concerned about making it super smooth, because let's see, where you guys are sitting from that view, it still looks a little chunky, but you can see how it's taking on the contours right. Trying to make the shapes right. The mouth from that angle looks a little funky, so I need to readjust that. But that's one of the things that you can do a lot of times is not necessarily have a video camera on your painting, but you can take your painting and face it towards the mirror every once in a while. And if you don't have access to that, you get your phone in your back pocket, just take a picture off of it on your phone and view it through that smaller lens that tends to highlight some areas that you might not normally see. And that helps out quite a bit with being able to render the painting a little bit more true to what you want it to look like. And the rest of this painting is pretty dry already, so I'm not worried about putting my big mitts all over this thing.
So have you seen Jose Lupe's work from Lowrider Tattoos?
I don't think so.
So he's also a legend.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah,
Jose
I know
Lopez.
exactly. Yeah,
Fuck
I know
yeah,
you're talking
man.
about. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, dude.
I have seen his live Instagram interview, and he was talking about his life, and like from the age of 15 he started struggling, and the only way he could survive in his life was tattooing, because he was like on wheelchair. and then
Wow.
started his like crazy like scene, and amazing, sir, amazing. His work is also amazing.
Yeah, I've seen. Is he did a what is it? Oh man, is it the Virgin Mary holding Christ or something like that? Like there's like a statue.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is that the one? Yeah, yeah.
Yes, sir.
That
Yes, sir.
tattoo is fucking phenomenal. I know exactly which one you're talking about, dude. It's the guy's work is awesome. It's like so silky smooth, and that black and gray like achieves, and those effects, those lighting effects and stuff like that that he achieves with it is incredible. Very meticulous.
And sir, his post is also like so motivational. Every post has some message in it, like
Oh, that's awesome.
self-help kind of scene.
Yeah, yeah. Like he's faced the adversity that we were talking about earlier, and like what it takes to
Yes,
kind
sir.
of overcome some of that stuff and the importance of it. Yeah, that's awesome to hear, man.
Yes, sir.
I didn't know that he got into that deep.
You know
That's
who
cool.
also gets pretty deep is Gunner.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen some of the stuff. It's pretty awesome.
Yes, sir. I have seen that interview. You, oh, sir, amazing art.
Yeah. Also, uh, Steph Bastian.
Oh, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, I love his motivational stuff, man. It's just
Yes.
he's preaching like legit knowledge, man. It's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, it's very enlightening. You know, I know that I've reposted a lot of his stuff, and it's because I find a lot of it rings true for a lot of people, you know.
Yes, sir. So that is something like one should acknowledge first, like before getting into fame and tattooing, like getting money and fame, that kind of thing from tattooing. Like first learn about the basics, or like be be respectful towards the art, something like that. So
Yeah.
that is something one should like acknowledge first.
Yeah, knowledge and respect from where you came,
Yes, sir.
you know. Because if you can't respect the history of what you're doing, then how can you ever
Yes, sir.
expect to achieve a certain level of enlightenment with it?
Or it's just something that you put into, you know what I mean? If you're putting that time and effort into it, and you're not treating it accordingly, then it's not going to be. It can hinder you from growing from it, and it growing from you too, right? Because you're putting all the bad energy into it, So you got to like respect it, like he's talking about. It's not just about the money; it's about connection. It's about your involvement with what it is that you're putting on people, the images that you're tied to. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Steph Bastian, huh?
Yeah, dude. He's deep, man. He will blow your mind with some of the knowledge he drops, guaranteed.
Nice. I'll check it out.
This is, so I don't know if you guys know about Steph Bastian, but he started off being a portrait artist.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so he's skilled as far as fine art. He can execute portrait tattoos, fine line realism, and everything like that. And he switched gears and he wanted to get back down to the essence of the subject matter that he was tattooing. So he started to kind of move away from that and get back more to more towards the traditional style of tattooing. Tattoos that look like tattoos, old school Americana, things of that nature, and just really boiling things down to try to capture their essence a little bit more. What is it he's trying to accurately portray? And I'm very enamored with the guy's work. I think it's phenomenal. It's so clean and so crisp, and it's flawless in every technical aspect. And knowing that he can do that, and he can do things that are more representational. You know, I think it's absolutely incredible.
That's killer, man.
Yes, so next level.
Well, I'm gonna have to check them out, but for now, I'm just gonna show this off real quick because I'm gonna have to sign off. I have an 11 o'clock appointment coming in. I'm just gonna scan through this real quick and show what I've been working on. I mostly worked on Bender today. Added some more darks to it, some more highlights. Starting to come together. It's still really suggestive right now, and I'll still start going back and tightening some more things up. Thank you, Akshay. I appreciate that. And again, there's the reference right there. But yeah, I just wanted to say thank you, Akshay and Jason, for joining me today. If you can, I'd like to give you guys a quick sign off. If y'all want to go ahead and give everybody a shout out and let everybody know where they can get a hold of you at. Akshay, we can go to start with you if that's okay.
Yeah, yes, sir. So my name is Akshay Kashyap and I'm from India, and my Instagram handle is akshay.tattoos, and I've recently started my YouTube channel, which is also Akshay Tattoos. So best way to reach me out is through my Instagram. And thank you so much, Ricardo sir, Jason sir, Guy Jason sir, for creating this amazing platform. And this is so amazing to talk to you guys like in these drawing sessions. Thank you so much for doing this. And yes, thank you.
That's awesome, dude. Thanks for joining us, Akshay. I appreciate it, man. It's always good to see you too.
Cool. My turn.
Yes, sir. It sure is.
Hi, I'm Jason, and I'm addicted to tattoos.
You came to the right place.
Group? Wrong group.
Right. This is the right group.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Now, my name's Jason Leeser. I lead the Sunday afternoon drawing groups here at Reinventing the Tattoo every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern. You can find me on Instagram at Philly Inc. If you live and or work in the Philadelphia area and you want to get tattooed, I work at the Inkwell Tattoo in Southampton, Pennsylvania. I love jumping on these things, Ricardo. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Akshay, it's always good seeing you, bud. Really miss talking to you.
Likewise, man.
Sir,
yeah.
I'm grateful, sir.
Yeah, but that's all I got. I have to get going as well because I as well have a tattoo appointment. So no more. Oh, I'll give you guys a quick peek at what I'm doing and working on.
I was just about to ask that. Yeah.
So I'm really starting to
to
define some more things, adding some more texture in there.
Yeah, it's coming together really well, man. Yeah. Can you zoom out just a little bit? There you go. Yeah, that's really starting to come together. Yeah, I like it.
I've got a little bit more subtlety to do in areas like here in this orbital socket.
Mm-hmm.
I want to add some more subtleties to the nasal cavity and maybe lighten up this internal socket a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then just add some like minor little details, like some little divots and maybe a couple of little cracks. And then I'm just going to call it done because I'm tired of working on it.
Yeah. Just what do they say about a finished painting? It's not really that finished. It's always just kind of abandoned for the time being or something like that. Yeah. Yeah. I feel you there, man. I know exactly what you mean, but it looks great though, dude. Good job.
Thank you.
Very enjoyable watching the process, man. So thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
Too.
And I just picked up some varnish the other day too. It's Gamvar matte varnish.
Yeah.
Never used it before. So kind of interested to see how it goes.
I just pour mine right on top of the canvas and just, you know, you can use a sponge brush or brand new, like, you know, real fine, soft kind of synthetic brush to kind of just glaze it over the whole thing. It always looks crazy. Yep, that's it. It always looks kind of crazy too because it's a little milky at first, and then you can still see some of the streaks from the bristles, but that all evens out. It's like a stain almost. You know what I mean? Like when you put it on, and then you kind of wipe it through, and then it just becomes part of the wood and stuff like that. It's kind of like that. But
Okay.
yeah, it should be good for you, man. But yeah, well, thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate it very much. It's always a pleasure to have Jason here with me, and Akshay. It's always so good to see you, man. It's so cool to know that you're like on the other side of the world, and you're like, we all share the same common interests and stuff, man. And to see you progress and stuff like that over the past, year has been, that's enlightening and awesome, dude. It's so cool to be a part of that, man. So thank you for joining us. Everybody else that's watching or that watches the video, thank you guys for the interest and the follows and stuff like that, and the commentary. It's always good to hear from you guys. So if y'all have anything to say, like Jason always says, if there's anything you want to hear us talk about, if there's anything that you would like to discuss, bring it on. Let's do it. Let's have a conversation. Let's have some growth. Let's have some enjoyable times together. Thank you guys for joining. My name is Ricardo Sturdivant. You can reach me on Instagram at Candor Tattoo, and on the Reinventing the Tattoo app every Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. Thank you for joining us for Tuesday Feels. We'll go with that one. I think that one's sticking. Tuesday Feels. Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Yes,
or
sir.
Tuesday Feeling. Yeah, Tuesday Feels. Let's go with that. Yeah, it's always a pleasure, man. I'm so stoked to be a part of this. I can't imagine being anywhere else right now. Thank you, Guy Atchison, Lauren, for helping me with this every Tuesday morning. Couldn't do it without you. I'm technologically not too savvy. And I say too savvy because I'm starting to learn a little bit, but we'll get there. Gabe Ripley, you're the man. And Guy Atchison, thank you so much. Everybody who is watching, see you later. Peace. Have a good
Take
day.
care.